I learned this because I had a difficult time looking for work back when I was starting out. So every chance I got, I listened to other people's interviews. If I failed the interview, I'm just gonna sit at the bench and listen to the next interview. I'm gonna listen to a couple of more interviews before I leave the call center. When that happens, I get to listen to how people get hired and how people get rejected. And this is one of the most common situations that I encounter. Hi there. I'm just trying out this new format and I'd like to share about different issues that happen during the interview. This is one example that we encounter during interview, and this is the behavioral issue. These issues are some of my observations from working in the call center industry. These are also some of my observations from doing interviews myself. This is the number one thing that I encounter: copied internet answers. What are copied internet answers? Copied internet answers are answers that you copied from the internet. And I've seen this so many times. Like if you've ever joined a group of aspiring call center agents, this is what happens. You see applicants ask for the most common interview questions, and then applicants then Googles or watches YouTube on how to answer these questions. You've probably seen people do this, and you've probably done this yourself. I have done this. I have searched for how to answer interview questions. But then, as I got older, as I gained more experience, I realized that a lot of these answers won't work for you. It may have worked for the person writing the advice. It may have worked for the person sharing on YouTube, but maybe it's not going to work for you because a lot of the advice that I've seen does not work at all. Now, here's what I'd like to say. I'm having difficulty saying this, so I'm posting it on the screen first. Many answers that you'll find on the internet sounds intelligent, but makes you look stupid. What does that mean? Here's an example that I found online. This lady asks in a popular call center group, why do you want to work in a call center? You're not gonna copy this answer because I'm a call boy, but look at this. I've seen this since maybe 2007 or 2008. As a fresher, I haven't any experience for this position, but I think this is a good platform for me to show my skill, or in some cases, showcase my skill and enhance some knowledge. If I get this job, I will do my best for the growth of the company. Sounds good, right? But no, this is a bad answer. So I dropped a comment. Not a good answer. Obvious na kinopya sa internet sa first three words. Because this is true. I've been seeing this answer since 2007. And I've been hearing this answer ever since I started talking to people in interviews and I've started coaching people in call center jobs. Sometimes Googling something isn't the best way to find the answer. Maybe you can get ideas, but if you copy this answer word per word, then you're gonna mess up. Because here's the thing. I want to point this out because you might not know this. As a fresher, this word here is, you know how we have Taglish in the Philippines, like a combination of English and Filipino or Tagalog for if you live in Manila. The word fresher is actually an Indian thing. It's like an Indian English kind of word. If you're speaking English, what they really meant is a newbie or a beginner, but fresher, no American uses the word fresher. The word freshman is used if you're like a first year high school student or a first year college student, but this word, the word fresher, does not exist. So if you copy this answer and you're speaking to an American, then they're like, "Oh, you're from India? I thought we were hiring Filipinos." We are hiring Filipinos because we don't want our agents to sound like they're from somewhere else. We want to hire Filipinos because Filipinos speak good English. So, yeah, right? I haven't any experience for this position, but I think this is a good platform for me to show your skill. What the fuck are your skills? Right? You don't have skills. And enhance some knowledge. Yeah. You don't go to a job to enhance your knowledge. Enhancing your knowledge is a byproduct of working at a job, but that's never your intention. Your intention is to work for a company. Your intention is to earn money. And if you're going to sugarcoat that, then in the first impression, you're gonna tell your interviewer, you're going to communicate unknowingly that you are just using them. You're using them for practice. Like, hi, I know you have a lady friend. Can you introduce me? Like, I don't have an experience being a good boyfriend, but I'm gonna use them for practice. Will you refer me to your lady friend? Of course not. So this is what this whole bullshit means. And I've seen this on the internet so many times, and I've even seen Filipino YouTubers copy this exact line just so they can get views. But this is wrong. This is completely wrong. Okay, so many answers that you'll find on the internet sounds intelligent but makes you look stupid. Here's another thing that I want to point out, but I want you to think, why is that? Why are answers that you find on the internet sound intelligent but makes you sound stupid? I'm going to give you 5 more seconds. Just think about that. 5 more seconds. Why do these answers make you sound stupid? Here's the reason. Copied answers are not your answers. Copied answers are... I'm going to say that again because it's so important. Copied answers are not your answers. Copying other people's answers means that you are pretending to be somebody else, right? So I have some cool lessons about how to answer interview questions, but you shouldn't copy me. You should write your own answer because you are the person being interviewed and you are the person who's being evaluated, and you are the best person to answer the questions. My answers may not apply to you. For example, one of the reasons why I wanted to work in a call center is I'd like to become more independent, right? I'd like to become more independent. I'd like to have my own money. I was working in sales, and if you're working in sales, there are days when you make a lot of money, but if you can't sell anything, you're not gonna make any money. So I wanted to have a more steady income. So I'd like to work in a call center because a call center agent makes less money than a salesperson would. But if you factor in the months or the weeks where I don't have a lot of sales, then it balances itself out as well. And I also know that the skill of selling is valuable in a call center because I know for a fact that 90% of people don't like sales. So if you know how to sell, like it's an advantage in a call center. And I know that call center employers will find my skill valuable. And I want to offer that to the company in exchange for the steady income, the steady higher than usual income. And I'm trying to save up for upgrades in my life. I'm older, I have more responsibilities. I'd like to help out with the expenses at home. I'd like to buy a computer. I'd like to get internet connected at home. I'd like to have, what do you call that? I'd like to upgrade our kitchen, and I'd like to learn some more adult skills. I'd like to take some cooking lessons. I'd like to buy new tools to upgrade our kitchen. And that's the reason why I want to work in a call center. But if you copy my exact answer, then maybe you're gonna have a problem because, oh, you wanna upgrade a computer? What kind of computer are you buying? Right? Or if the interviewer asks you what kind of, what do you call that? What kind of kitchen tools are you interested in? Like, where will you enroll for cooking lessons? Then if you don't know the answer, then, you just told your interviewer that you're a liar. And that's bad, right? You don't know this because here's the thing. The interviewer will ask you follow-up questions to discover the truth. And based on experience, the interviewer will ask you about your answer at least 6 times. And I'm going to give you an example. And if you've been following my YouTube channel or if you're enrolled in my English lessons, then you've probably seen this example before. But if you're new, then yeah, this is a new example. Okay? So, interviewer, how do you spend your free time? Now, here's what the applicant says. I enjoy watching English movies to improve my communication skills. I also like reading English books. So the interviewer obviously sounds impressed. Awesome! What's your favorite movie? What's the last book you read? And then the applicant mentions a popular movie or popular TV shows, and maybe the applicant mentions the title of the book. And then the interviewer, even more excited, okay, sure, that sounds interesting. Tell me the story about that TV show, or tell me about what you learned from that new book that you're reading. And then the applicant goes silent. There's no answer. I have a video. I'm going to link to that video. But yeah, this happens a lot. I learned this because I had a difficult time looking for work back when I was starting out. So every chance I got, I listened to other people's interviews. So if I failed the interview, I'm just gonna sit at the bench and listen to the next interview. I'm gonna listen to a couple of more interviews before I leave the call center. And when that happens, I get to listen to how people get hired and how people get rejected. And this is one of the most common situations that I encounter. The applicant goes silent for at least 30 seconds, and the interview says, I'm sorry, I can't recommend you for the next step of the job application process. And sometimes the interviewer is a little nicer, but I don't know if you're going to call that nice. The interviewer is going to say, we're going to evaluate your application and we'll just call you if there's a new open position. Thank you so much for your time. So that's what happens, right? Here's an example. Here's another example. The interviewer asks, please talk about your strengths, okay? What's your answer to please talk about your strengths, right? Now, if you're copying from the internet, this is a common answer. I'm honest, hardworking, dependable, and have good communication skills. So that's it. Honest, dependable, and have good communication skills. Okay, so what does the interviewer say? Dependable, huh? Please share a story about a time when you had to choose work over a personal appointment. What do you think is the answer of the applicant? The applicant is silent for 30 seconds. The applicant is silent, kind of like how I am when I'm not sure what to say. Applicant is silent. So the interviewer just looks at the applicant. And then what happens? It really depends. Sometimes the interviewer is nice and will give the applicant a second chance. Sometimes, for a lot of the interviewers that I've gone to, the interviewer isn't very patient, so interview over at this point. But if the interviewer is nice, he's going to give the applicant another chance. Okay, so you mentioned that you have good communication skills. Please share a story about the time when you are dealing with a difficult customer. Difficult customer? Applicant silent again. Sometimes the applicant is a fresh grad or like someone who's in the middle of college. So I'm sorry, I don't have work experience. I don't know how to answer that question. So the interviewer is going to give the applicant a third chance. Oh, okay. Well, tell me about a situation where you were dealing with a difficult person. You can give an example of an experience in school. Like, for example, maybe you have a group activity or group work, and how are you dealing with this difficult person and how did it work out? Or you can give an example where you're at home, all right, and you're dealing with a difficult family member. What kind of conflict happened and how did you handle the situation? And how did things turn out? I remember this question being asked during my interview at Concentrics, but back then they were still called Converges. And I was able to answer this. I don't remember my answer, but I talked about like a conflict where I had an aunt who's like a little difficult to speak with, but I did my best to just explain. and just made an effort to stay patient and explain, and that was it. And I got a go to the next interview. So if the applicant is silent, I think you already know what the interviewer is going to say, right? The interviewer is not going to recommend the applicant. And that's how it goes. That's how it goes. At this point, if you're copying answers that you've read on the internet and the interviewer asks you follow up questions, then you're likely going to make a mistake, or you're likely going to reveal to the interviewer that you didn't spend any time thinking about the question. Because if you copy someone else's answer, you're copying someone else's solution based on their own life story and their experience. You have no contribution to that conversation. And that means that the interviewer will discover that, oh, this person isn't a good person to talk to. So they're gonna look for someone else. And they don't mind. They don't mind sending no to a lot of people. In a lot of cases, 20 applicants go through the screening process and only one person gets hired, and they know that. And a call center company typically has to interview 100 job applicants to find 5 agents. And that's the reality. Think about that. Think about that before you consider copying someone else's answer. Because if you're copying someone else's answer, this is your outcome. I can't recommend you for the next stage. Please don't answer interview questions using words that you don't understand. Applicant goes home defeated. So think about that. What are the best answers for call center interviews? The best answers are your own answers. Okay? But like Kevin, don't you like have students? Don't you teach them anything? What do you teach them? Well, I'm gonna share you. I'm gonna share with you what I teach my students. If you wanna enroll, that'd be great. You'd get to hang out, and I'd get to teach you one on one. But if you don't have the budget, or don't have the time, or don't have the resources, then I'm gonna teach you now. Here you go. This is what I teach my students. Number one, write your answers. Right? Like, I ask my students to prepare a notebook and start writing. Write your usual answers. Write your story. Write about your work experience. And then the next thing that we do is pay attention to the small details. Okay? What happens when you pay attention to the small details? Here's the thing. Here's what we do. You fix the grammar. So we go through all of the sentences in the story. We go through all of the sentences in the interview answers, and then we fix the grammar. So after we fix the grammar, we fix the pronunciation. And yeah, that's a lot of work. I know, like, you're reading this on the screen, you're listening to me, and like, oh man, that's a lot of work. But that is a lot of work. And yeah, no, you don't like to speak in Tagalog for one sentence. Hindi pinupulot ang 20,000 a month. Hindi pinupulot ang 30,000 a month. Because I don't know if you're still practicing math, but 20,000 a month is 1,000,000 pesos after 5 years. 30,000 a month is almost 2 million after 5 years. If you think about it, think about it carefully. I write from the heart, but I still check for grammar errors. That's the thing. That's the thing. I write from the heart. I talk about personal experience, but I write what I want to say, but I check for grammar errors. And that's the most important thing for me. Now, I have a YouTube video. I have a YouTube video, or I have a YouTube channel, but I don't consider myself a YouTuber. But I do post. I do post on YouTube. I post videos. But, you know, I'm not a YouTuber. I'm not just a YouTuber. At least I have a job, and I teach English on the side. And I'm just, the only reason why I have a YouTube channel is so I have proof that I teach people. So this advice is gonna offend a lot of people. Don't just watch YouTubers. 90% of YouTubers, the videos that 90% of YouTubers do are intended to just increase the watch time. The goal is to entertain you instead of educating you. Let me fix that a little just so you can read it better. Don't just watch YouTubers. 90% of their videos are intended to increase the watch time. The goal is to entertain you instead of educate you. I wasn't intent on shooting YouTube videos to teach people at first because it takes a lot of time and I have a job and I have other things to do and I'm making good money with what I do. But I saw this YouTuber named, I think he changed the channel, but he's like Kachupoy or something, Jokoy or whatever. I forgot. But he's just his videos are just tricking the audience. Like, I'm gonna teach you the secret to or how to pass the interview, how to pass the call center interview without knowing good English, how to pass call center interviews without having good English skills. And then there are some tricks, and some of the tricks that he teaches, like I've used some of those, but not all of those. But like it's a complete trick. It's a complete con act. It's a complete trickery of the interviewer. But if you get hired in a call center, and if you get hired in an international call center, and your English isn't very good, then you're gonna speak to a an American customer, okay, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, right? If your English isn't good, so uh, a day ago, like last night, I was teaching a student, and we were doing a workshop on call simulation, and we were doing a credit card spiel, and we were practicing. So at first, I was just fixing her pronunciation, and then I was explaining the program to her, and then I was explaining like the details. So when we began to practice for real, she'll be able to communicate. Okay, and we got the pronunciation right. We got the she understood the details because credit cards is a little complicated to explain, so I had to explain that before we proceeded. So when we got to the call simulation, I gave her three modes. The first mode is an easy mode where I'll just say yes to everything she says. So I'll just let her read the spiel and I'll say yes to everything that she says. And then when I increase the difficulty to medium, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask her questions about what she just said. So in a lot of cases, I'm just asking her to repeat what she just said. I'm gonna let her say something, and then I'm gonna ask about what she said. And most of my questions are intentional. I'm just gonna repeat what she said. And then when we got to the difficult mode, I began acting like a real customer based on what I've experienced working in a call center. And when we got to the difficult mode, like we were doing mostly fine. I was behaving mostly like the medium, but when we got to the end, she began to panic, and I almost heard that she was about to cry, and like she was rattled, and I told her that yeah, well, I'm teaching you this because these are the situations that are going to happen when you apply. I mean, when you get started at that job. That difficult customer, you're going to encounter that at least twice or thrice a day in your 8 hour shift. And you're likely going to speak to the medium difficulty customer most of the time. It's usually a combination of easy and medium, but then it gets hard. It gets really hard. And I showed her what it was like. And you have to think about that. If your English isn't good, then working in a call center is going to be a living hell for you. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to fix your grammar, you need to fix your pronunciation, and you need to improve your the way you express yourself. Okay? I have the same problem with English movies, right? Like I don't recommend watching YouTube to learn English. Like, you really need to practice English instead of just watching, because watching is just a passive activity. I have the same problem with movies because movies and TV shows are primarily entertainment instead of educational, right? And if you are watching this because you can't get a job in a call center, you're having a difficult time because you lack the education in the areas of communication and business skills. Okay. Now, this is a little tough to share because this is the truth. I mean, a lot of a lot of the advice that I've seen in, like, many of the YouTubers that are giving call center advice, they're gonna say, "Oh, I'm gonna give you call center advice," and then there's like some comedy sound effects. It's kind of like you're watching Itbulaga, and then they have a promo or like a raffle or like subscribe mga ka Mr. Suabe or something like that. They're just wasting your time. You're not learning anything. You're not, because and no one's gonna call them out, because the people who get hired in call centers, the people who don't need this kind of training, the people who don't need this kind of information, they don't watch YouTube. They already practiced English in school and they're doing well. So when they apply, they just get hired. When they apply, they just have to look for some, they look for tips and they'll get hired because their English is already good. But if your English is not good and you already discover that the English is your problem, you should fix your English. You don't need interview tips. You don't need job tips. You need to figure out how to improve your English. Okay, and that's it. You know, my advice is this: like, you don't have to watch my videos. Just this: practice writing and learn from real experts. I was looking around and I found a Filipino English teacher, and if you listen to the video, it's kind of like just listening to a high school class, but maybe that's what you need. Listen to a real expert, right? My focus is communicating to sell because I have a sales background, and that's what I teach. I teach my students how to communicate in a way that they can sell to the interviewer. But if your problem is basic grammar or basic, like, really simple stuff, past, present, future, then you might need actual English lessons. You might need to hire a teacher, hire a real English teacher. Okay? And yeah, I'll stop here and let me know what you think. Hit like, hit subscribe. Like, no, I don't really care about the like, but if you want me to make more of these videos, just let me know. You can drop a comment, hit like, and or you can just email me. Like, I don't have a lot of subscribers, so if you're watching this video, you likely found my video through my email list. And anyway, we'll talk. Just send me an email, and yeah, I'll make another video for you. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye.